So that's the end then of qualifying, and in the end, nobody of the top three improved on their laps, and Erik will take pole position then, and will start this race from the front row alongside Lucas, with Happemühl in P3. Happemühl was on for a pole position lap until he made that mistake in the final few corners, and unfortunately has to settle for P3, but still will very much be in the fight for the race win with his teammate and with the Williams of Lucas as well. Power Team, let's see what he can do. He's only P4 in the end. Couldn't go for another lap after he retired early on, but still stayed there in fourth position with a good enough lap. Woozy in the end with a great improvement as well to see himself inside the top 5. Then Mark in 6th place ahead of Sasha, Fireblaze, Geitenkaas and Octavia rounding out the top 10. And we'll also see what Kevin can do. He's always quick. He is also very quick around this track, but he is going to be starting down in P14. So it's going to be a little bit of a comeback drive, but it's better than starting in P20. So we'll see, like he did in Baku, for example. So it shouldn't be that much of a comeback, and I think it will take relatively quickly for him to be in that leading train and fight it out with the front runners. But we're about to go ready for the British Grand Prix.
I am back just in time, but here we go then for the British GP here in Silverstone. The lights are away as we get racing once again. Here comes Erik and Lucas side by side down in towards turn 1 we go, but Erik maintains the lead. But here comes Happemühl now side by side with the Williams. There's a massive crash in the background. Who will start? Was that Kevin or Geitenkaas? We have no idea until confirmed. There's a massive crash in the back. There's like 5-6 cars out of the race already. Not out of the race, but you know what I mean, off the track. But look at this mighty scrap going on here in turn 4 and turn 5. Kevin Zundberg is at the back of the field, but Erik is pulling away now. This scrap is getting more intense and more insane. They're going 3 abreast almost on the straight we go. Lucas there in the middle. Here goes Happemühl trying to defend and overtake, but he goes around the outside in towards Bucklins. He has the inside line. Now in towards Loughborough we go, and Happemühl takes away P2 away from Lucas. It's a Red Bull 1-2 once again, as Lucas there has lost the place towards Happemühl, but the reason about that, here comes Lucas back again, but I don't think he'll go down the inside in towards Cops. Sorry, I am out of breath here because I had to run him back. I didn't realise it was about to go away very soon, but here goes Power Steam now, up into P3 he goes. Lucas goes off the track in Cops, and Power Steam there goes up into P3. So Lucas once again struggling here, as Moosey is right behind, made contact, got time good up there. Danny Kvyat and Carlos Sainz made contact there back in 2017, and I can't remember who retired. I think it was Sainz who retired on that day too. But yeah, what a shame for him indeed. I think Lewis Hamilton went on to win after both Ferrari drivers picked up a punch on that day too. But Geitenkaas, there was a major midfield scrap there going on down the field, and I need a breather as well because I literally I saw the lights about to go out and I was running back. I never sprinted so quick in my life. But Sasha now goes up into P5. I saw it from a distance, Milan. I saw the lights about to go out. I just ran back to my headset, hoping I was on mute and hoping the stream was still going. So yeah, I'm out of breath now. Over to you, mate.
Few drivers into the pit lane with front wing damage. Rekert UTVH, and crucially Kevin Zonnebroek was involved in the incident down at turns 1 and 2. Not sure what exactly happened, but there was, like you said, like 5 drivers involved. Colin, Octavia and Mark, I think, were also involved as well. But Kevin, unfortunately, picking up front wing damage, switching over to the medium, and is forced to a 2-stop. So his comeback drive has become a lot more difficult now, as we're on lap 2 with 2 Red Bulls leading out in front. Erik and Happemühl. Happemühl has stayed within DRS range of his teammate, crucially, and Power Team is following him closely behind. Lucas now, with the poor start of the bunch at the front, and dropping down to 4th place from 2nd on the grid. Then Sasha and P5 towards the cars in front, so I think he was involved in the incident as well. So we have like, almost half the field involved in an incident on the opening lap. Only the top 7 remaining clean, it seems like. But we're going to go on to lap 3 then, with the 2 Red Bulls still out in front, and Erik unable to break away from his teammate, as Geitenkaas thinks he is finally going to pull to the pit, and yes he is, to replace that front wing, and he will fall back massively and probably come out near his teammate and Rekert and TVHNL. So a drama for both of the Alpines, but Happemühl is maintaining that gap towards Erik, well within DRS range now, and could we see a potential attack soon, or will they play it safe through the first stint? Would hope that they will, as he is weaving down the Wellington Straight. Let's hope they won't fight it out as much as they did the Hungarian Grand Prix, and we'll keep it calm and collected for now. Of course, I can imagine they can fight it out towards the very end when they're fighting for the race win. But Power Team, Lucas, Sasha, they're all there for the taking as well, so we cannot take too many risks, especially not in these opening stages of the race.
Yeah, indeed then. Well, like I said, every single weekend, Happemühl's got a big chance to win this race, but how is he going to play it out this time? The lack of pace and the lack of patience, it must be said, back. at the Hungarian Grand Prix as well. So he's got it all in his hands. The two Dutchmen have got to work cohesively and together as well and in harmony to make sure they get the best possible result, because they wasted a lot of points back at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Power Team, you know, has been looking very strong so far. It's his first appearance, I think, here in SDN this season, and he has been looking very strong indeed. And JSR as well, let's not forget. He's one of those drivers who comes in now and then and pops in some decent results, and the championship leader is behind him of Sasha in P5 as well, as Eric is leading the Grand Prix still. Power Seems rise to the back of Happy Meals. Let's see if he can make an impact in this race or not as we head through Turn 2. It's a big DRS trip from first down to 7. Fireblaze, of course, is at the back of it in P7. The Dutchman's always lurking somewhere. Is Fireblaze, the champion of SDN, the runner-up in the championship as well. Fireblaze is always around the corner somewhere. And he's in P7, right to the back of Boosie for P6. He has won the Austrian Grand Prix. He finished in P4 back at the, I think it was the Hungarian Grand Prix as well. Kick says, hi mate, hello, how are you doing? Hopefully you had an amazing time at the at Austria, sorry. I keep saying Austrian Grand Prix, but obviously it's not. But yeah, having a good time at Austria indeed is Kick in the mountains. But last season it was Kick who won the Grand Prix ahead of Lucas, and Happy Meal finished in P3 because Fireblaze got a punchy towards the end. It was a Williams 1-2 at the time. Happy was trying to hunt down the two Williams drivers, but Kick had tremendous pace. He pulled away, and his teammate Lucas and also Happy did not catch him, and therefore was left alone to win the British GP back in Kick's glory days in SDN. But still, there's a long way to go this season for Kick. He's still in the championship hunt, is the Dutchman indeed, and he is a very strong driver. But here, drivers got involved. The likes of Russell, Gasly, Joe, Sebastian Vettel, Alex Albon, Hulkenberg as well, I think, at the time, and probably Logan Sargent, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, 6 drivers in one incident there at the British GP. The British GP never fails to deliver, and it's always put on a mega show since its past history. 1987 minutes, Mansell versus PK. Mansell hunted down his teammates for a record-breaking lap. He made the move in towards Stowe, and the crowd erupted when he won the Grand Prix, nicknamed Mansellmania, as the grandstands in Britain trembled as it found its gladiator at the time as well. Then, of course, in 1998, we had Schumacher's dramatic finish. We saw it in PSGL when somebody won the race in the pit lane. I think it wasn't allowed, but I know we commentate for PSGL, shouldn't be saying this, but it should have been allowed ideally, because it wasn't in the rules and regs, but they made it in the rules and regs after the race. But Schumacher won the race in the pit lane. He got given a 10-second stop-go penalty, so 2 completely different circumstances. As Ferrari cleverly served it on the final lap, he crossed the finish line in the pit lane and won the race. And I think Kimi Räikkönen almost won a race in the pit lane too back in 2003. He did win a race in Brazil in the pit lane, but Giancarlo Fisichella got it back after being restated because of, I think it was the lap before when Mark Webber and Alonso crashed as well. But Milan, I'm going too far back in the history books, mate. We need to start the present now. It's the Red Bull drivers 1 and 2, Happy Meal and Eric.
Indeed, the two Alpines scrapping it away, trying to make up lost progress as Kevin Sonnenberg is trying to go round the outside of Regaju to Cops corner. There's contact, and almost around goes the Aston Martin. Kevin goes off track as well as 2 into 1. Rarely goes in Cops corner. We've seen it plenty of times in the past. Where that has gone terribly wrong, but Regaju coming off worse than in the Aston Martin. I don't think he's got damage, but he has lost 2 positions, and he's down in P14 now, and fighting out with TV channel. But the 2 Alpines now have been released in 11th and 12th, and they've got a gap to make up to the rest of the field. 24 seconds is Heidegger behind Colin, but then again he is a further 5 seconds behind Octavia and Mark, who are then a further 8 seconds behind the leading field. So I definitely don't think that we're going to see Heidegger and Kevin fighting about for some position near the podium in this race, unless there's a safety car, of course. Could happen. We still got 20 laps to go. Anything can happen. But at the moment, they're in quite a terrible position to be in. But Eric still at the front, ahead of his teammate. No changes in the top 7. Everyone's still in this DRS train as well. And I think everyone is in a pretty comfortable position. We'll are right now 0.8 of a second away, but he has got the DRS, which Eric does not have. And everyone behind him has DRS as well. And Bushi, for the past couple of laps, has been staring at the back of that Ferrari. He's been quite close to Sasha through all these laps, but just not quite close enough to make any move on the Ferrari. He's also running out quite wide there through Stone. Not the first time I think I've seen him doing that in this race. You have to be careful with that, otherwise he will pick up a 3-second time penalty, which can be quite costly. So he goes wide, and it was Octavia picking up a penalty. Almost thought that he was getting a penalty, but it was the RB of Octavia picking up a 3-second time penalty in this race, down in 9th place. But to be fair to him, he's doing a good job of staying close to Mark, just up ahead, and still inside the points playing positions in 9th. but that 3-second time penalty will not help him at the end of the race, as the gap between the leaders has shrunk now down to 0.5 of a second. But I don't think there's any intention of Happy Meal to try and overtake his teammate, just wanting to stay behind for the early stages of this race, the opening stint. Question will be who's going to pit the earliest. Is it going to be Erik, or is Happy Meal going to try and go for an undercut? Who knows? Power Team, what will he do, being behind the pair of these two Red Bulls? And then Lucas in 4th place, starting to lose a little bit of ground towards the top 3, but he is still staying within DRS range at the moment. But definitely, we thought he would be in a fight for race win, but he is struggling a little bit, must be said. Started in 2nd place and lost 2 positions at the start, and has been stuck ever since then. So he's going to have to try something else then with the strategy, potentially, to try and get ahead of one of those Red Bulls at least. But they're on lap 7. I think we're not too far away from pit stop, but still I think a couple of laps until we see the first drivers making their way into the pit lane for their one and only scheduled pit stop. Should be a one-stop around there. Even though the tire is quite high, the pit lane is super long around this track, and it takes a long time due to the pit speed limit as well. So you definitely don't want to make 2 pit stops around there. But unfortunately, some of those drivers are forced to, because they simply got from the damage at the beginning of the race with that incident. We're on to lap 8 then of 26. 18 to go after this one, and nothing has changed so far. And Octavia on lap 7 is going to pull into the pit lane, and that tells me he's going to go for 2-stop.
Maybe, but the pit lane loss is just too detrimental for your race indeed, so you don't want to be doing that. Here comes Multi, really go down the inside in towards Brooklands on Sasha, not for the time being, but Sasha on the last lap made a big mistake in towards, I think it was Vale or Club, I can't remember what the track corners, only the main ones indeed, which is quite a shame, because I know a lot of track corners are different tracks, but this one I just can't seem to remember every single corner, because I think every single corner has a goddamn name around this track in Silverstone, whereas other tracks don't have a one single corner named after them. But here we go then with Erik, Happy Meal and Seam all in DRS range. Sasha has dropped to the back of it. He has been struggling, so maybe his mini compound tyres are starting to grade. You can see the grain in there thermally and integrally as well, just graining up as well, and you can see it's really starting to affect his pace. He hasn't got DRS. Here comes the Sauber gaining and gaining. Would this be a big chance to overtake him? Not for the time being, but I would love to see this Red Bull battle between Happy Meal and Erik. Remember a couple of seasons ago, it was Robbie Akos versus Erik. You had a sprint and feature race. It was so close towards the end of the line indeed. They were both in the Aston Martin. I think it's in our commentary section as well on TikTok, when I think Ivan put it into the segment there. But it was these two, Erik and Robbie Akos, going side by side. It was on the SDN TikTok channel where these two put on an absolute mega show. It was the highlights of our combination of commentary together, me and Milan, as Colin is in the pit lane at the end of his lap. But yeah, what a big battle indeed between Erik and Robbie Akos that was. I think Eastbourne was also involved too, back in Eastbourne's days, where he was a former Season 5 champion indeed, but disappeared in Season 6. He's made an appearance or two in Season 7, but he hasn't really made too many showings so far. And when he has, it hasn't really had competitive pace we thought Eastbourne used to be, as he used to be a force to be reckoned with. It was Hatakas's worst nightmare, as he would finish P2 behind Eastbourne every single time. And Hatakas's one in P9, we know he can be a very quick driver, but of course this day and age in F1, where it's so difficult to pad, and you got to be accurate and precise and smooth on the driving 100% times, like me, Hadkas was really quick. He's still quick, by the way. He's quicker than me, obviously. But here comes now the racing bull of Octavia side by side with Hadkas. I don't league race a lot as I used to. In fact, I don't league race at all. And the last time I did was like 2-3 weeks ago. I think I fully quit league racing indeed. But when I do make an appearance on the track, I still to have that pace, you know, that I'm not too far away, I'm not too slow. It's just the natural ability and instincts. But here comes the leaders in the pit lane then. Erik is pitted, Fireblaze as well, and Sasha and Lucas are all in the pit lane. Happy Meal stays out there for one more lap, so I'm surprised Happy Meal did not go for the undercut attempt on his teammates. Power Seam also remains out there to be seen, and Fireblaze 2 in P3 as Erik goes over to the hardcore powered tyres. So take these hardcore powered tyres towards the end of this Grand Prix, and we'll see if the undercut does work or not. But now this could be an interesting time in the pit lane, and we'll see what happens in the second half of the race. Will Happy Meal get the jump on his teammate? Will Erik remain in the lead of the Grand Prix? What about Sasha? Can he split both Red Bull drivers? Because both Red Bull drivers have been leading the majority of this race, Milan, but it could be time for something different now in this spectacle, in this phase.
Indeed, now, so we expect Happy Meal, Power Team, Fireblaze and Mark as well to make their pit stop soon. It's quite early to make your pit stop, to be honest. You have to do 17 laps on the hards, in contrast to only doing 9 laps on the mediums. But yeah, you don't want to be staying out too long, or you will fall out of the DRS train, and it's so very difficult to get back within a DRS train once you're out of it. So I can see why some of the drivers are going for an earlier pit stop. So Erik then leads this train, although the gap now between himself and Lucas is 2.5 seconds. Sasha is back within the DRS range of Lucas at the expense of Woozy, who's now 1.3 seconds behind and trying to get back within, but is unable to at the moment. But Happy into the gravel goes. Power Seam, and he's got a puncture on the front left. Power Seam has just stretched this stint a little bit too long, a single lap too long, and that has fully eliminated him in the fight for the race win. Let's hope he gets his slowdown in time. With the puncture, it's going to be so difficult, and he does so just in time, but that is very unfortunate for the Ferrari driver, who for sure will be out of this fight. Happy Meal and Fireblaze both into the pit lane and having a clean pit stop. But unfortunately, Power Steam will drop behind, probably behind Woolsey, due to all that time loss due to this puncture. As Marcus into the pit lane as well. But here is Erik. He should come out ahead of his teammate, and he does so, I think, by more than a second as well. Yeah, way more than a second, in fact. Lucas is going to split to Red Bulls as well. There is Sasha just behind Happy Meal. Lucas is back into second place, where he started this race. In fact, the entire top 3 is the same as the beginning of the race, but look at the gap that Erik has got, 2.3 seconds toward Lucas. Then Happy Meal 1 second behind, with Sasha very close behind as well in 4th place. Then it's Woolsey in 5th, ahead of Fireblaze, 10th Octavia in 7th. But Power Seam has dropped all the way down to P8 after being P3 for the majority of this race. He has fallen out of that leading train and will be fighting probably for P7 at best. Very, very unfortunate indeed. Just stretched that medium stint a lap too long.
Oh, what a shame indeed there for Power Seam. Just running the P3, man, his own business, waiting for something to happen. But unfortunately, it happened to him, and he was the one that got a puncher indeed. He could have pitted, you know. He had the track position. He was ahead of his teammate, so he had the chance to pit on that lap, or lap 9 or lap 10. But just went one lap too long, and unfortunately put the bear too many times, and the mini-comp power tyres shredded to pieces as well. So I wonder now, with Happy Meal, with 1 lap the difference in tyres between him and Erik, will that define the race now? Will Happy Meal get back in the DRS range of Erik? Will Erik pull away now, given the gap? Because that's what happens in the pit lane as well. So that's why the pit lane is very important, very crucial and pivotal for these race settings as well. Power Steam now goes up into P7. What can he do on his recovery drive now up into P7? Luckily, he got a puncher down at Stowe, so he didn't have too far to go, although it was going to be a major comeback from there as well. Mark and Kevin Zumberg side by side, but Mark interested in the hardcore power tyres, new hardcore power tyres. Kevin Zumberg just stays ahead as well, and there's Hadagas right behind his teammate. The 2 LP drivers, we haven't really seen them work together. Well, because they've been too far apart, really, in the races. But we'll see how they do in battle with each other. The Haas, the Alpine versus the Alpine driver, Hatakas and Kevin Zumberg. Kevin Zumberg, last season champion, and Hatakas running up, I think, in the season 5 or 6 championship as well. But Mark's right at the back of him. Of course, Kevin on those older mini-cup power tyres is defenseless and can't defend. But Mark will be desperate to get past. He can't afford to be stuck behind these two, surely not, especially in his races, but to try and get Power Steam at Octavia. But he's stuck behind Kevin Zumberg, an obstacle in the way, and halted his progress. But here we go then. Will Mark try and force one of the inside of Kevin Zumberg? No, because Kevin Zumberg does have a bit more straight line speed. I think that's the difference in downforce as well, because neither driver really used ERS or battery. So Kevin Zumberg, I think, is running a relatively lower wing around here in Silverstone, but Mark is just constantly putting the pressure on. And Fireblaze is right behind Woozy. Let's see if he... No, he doesn't. So I thought for 1 second there, given that Woozy was out of DRS range, might force an overtake and therefore try and get himself towards Sasha, because Fireblaze has been stuck at the back of his DRS train. Mark now... Oh! Mark side by side with Kevin Zumberg, but as I say that, when I flicked on board with those two, I saw Fireblaze cut the curve really hard. He bounced up in the air, and it was like a split second before I went on board with these two. So obviously Fireblaze is still going, but for 1 second I thought he spun the car, because he literally took a lot of curb on the inside there, and it went up in the air. So luckily for him, the car's still going. If it was real life, of course, the bodywork, the under tray, and the floor would not do any favours at all. But of course, in the game, you can still keep going because no major damage has been done indeed. But look at that, Milan. Lucas is gaining rapidly on Erik again for the lead of the Grand Prix, and he's in DRS race too.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that as well. Lucas has done an incredible job. The gap was around 2.5 seconds once he came out of the pit lane, and Erik had that advantage, but he is unable to make it work. He hasn't really saved up that much battery as well, so it's not like he is taking it cautiously. But Lucas has just completely closed the gap, and it's down to 0.8 of a second as Geitegaas and Mark are fighting it out on track. Geitegaas on the inside, Mark on the outside, going into Kop's corner. You don't want to go side by side through there. Geitegaas is just going to be able to stay in front of the Aston Martin. Bit of contact mid-corners. Mark tries to go for a switchback, was unable to. In the meantime, Kevin Zonnebroek has made his final pit stop onto the hards, and he's down in P12 in clean air. So we'll see what he can do and can pick up the scraps as Mark now finally should be able to get ahead of the Alpine. Doesn't have much battery to use though, but Geitegaas doesn't have the DRS. Here comes the Aston Martin to the inside and towards a bit of contact once again. But Mark surely with the tire advantage is going to get ahead, and he does so. And he's now put the 9th place, and now Geitegaas is going to pull into the pit lane as well to make his second and final pit stop, and he gets his slowdown just in time there. Otherwise he would have picked up a penalty. Oh, and that is Octavia. He spun out of the final corner in the RB. Was running such a good race so far inside the points, but he has spun out of the final corner. He's hit the wall as well, picked up front wing damage, and that is going to massively affect his race. And he might fall out of the points because of that. Let's see where Geitegaas is going to come out compared to his teammate. Given, of course, with the undercut. Pitted 1 lap earlier, they were quite close to each other, so I think that Kevin should be able to get ahead. Especially when Geitegaas was fighting it out with Mark as well, and there he goes. So Kevin now in 11th place, Geitegaas in P12. Might just be within a 1 second window as Woozy picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. And he's the only one so far not within DRS range of the top 4 ahead. But it's really Erik holding up this train quite a bit, because Woozy is getting closer as well and bringing Fireblades along with him. But that 3-second time penalty will cost him at the end of the race. But the entire top 4 now within DRS range of each other for these final 12 laps of this race. And I think Woozy and Fireblades are catching up as well, so it's going to be a 6-way fight then for the race win. But when are we going to start seeing the fighting? Because so far it has been quite calm at the front, as Octavia has gone off once again, this time through maggots and baggets, and he's parked it there on the outside. But let's hope he doesn't actually retire on track, because that might cause a safety car, which is not what we'd like to see. But a drama race then in the end for Octavia. Was having a good first half, but 2 mistakes then costing him, and he has fallen down. Although I say that he's back in 10th. Oh, and Woozy has spun. Woozy has spun. Coming out of turn 3 and 4. Did he get hit by Fireblaze? I don't think so. Or was it just a little bit too eager on throttle? Got himself that 3-second time penalty, but now that spin has definitely costed him. And he is way outside the fight for the race win. And it's fallen down to a 5-way fight then, as Fireblaze is just about to close up to the top 4 to be within DRS range of Sasha. And then can start saving some battery again and put himself in that fight. But that is unfortunate for the Kick Sauber. Fallen down to P6 now, fully 7 seconds behind Fireblaze and just ahead of Power Seam, who might end up inside the top 6. But not sure what happened there with Woozy, but really unfortunate indeed.
Yeah, it is. I just caught the aftermath thanks to Octavia, because we were both watching him spinning out there and seeing what he would do. But Woozy, it's turn 4, turn 5, so I don't think Fireblaze made contact with him. I think Woozy just lost it by himself and spun the car. I don't think Fireblaze would have done any sort of drama. But he's up into P5 now due to the expense of Power Steve getting a puncher, and also Woozy spinning out too. In fact, they're going side by side in towards Vale now, so those two have caught up together, but in the wrong side of it as well, because they were both in the DRS train at one point in the race, but now they're falling backwards. One with a puncher, one with a spin, and now they're reunited on the track once together. But they're in a lonely race in P6 and P7 there for the Kick Sauber and the Ferrari team. So now it's down to a 5-way fight for the lead of the Grand Prix. There is 10 laps left to go in this race. Erik still leads though for about how much longer? Because Lucas, who finished P2 last season here at the British GP behind his teammate Kick, will be looking for a redemption, and especially as well back in Hungary, because he felt it was a disastrous race in Hungary, because he was stuck in a lot of traffic as well and got caught up in places where he shouldn't be and just lost a lot of pace as well, and he picked himself up a 3-second penalty. So redemption could be on the cards tonight for Lucas if he plays his card right. He's got both Red Bulls right where he wants him. He's split them both up as Woozy and Power Steam go side by side there. Out of World Cup we go, and I wonder how long those two will continue to scrap for as well, going down in towards Cost. But 10 laps have to go in this race. Eric is going to hit his hands, but for how much longer? Because he knows Lucas will be on the attack very shortly, so Eric has got to anticipate where he's going to strike. But also Lucas as well, got to watch out for Happy Meal, because you never know what he could be doing in the background too in P3. But Red Bull, though, have the Williams in a sandwich, but we'll see if Lucas can defend against one and attack the other and try and get his first proper win of the season, because I don't think he's had one just yet. He's had a sprint win back at the Hungarian Grand Prix, missed in Hungary due to the feature race after he just lost loads of positions and got stuck in traffic as well. He pitted one lap earlier and he got stuck behind that Ferrari guy. I think it was the Dutchman of Vietnamese fan who was the main antagonist in that race and caused everybody a headache as well, especially Fireblaze on lap one as well. So luckily he's not here tonight, and hopefully he doesn't return back unless he's got a different sort of mentality and attitude. But Eric as well can't afford to be settling in first place, because he knows that Lucas will be attacking him in the closing stage of this race. It's all about where and when. Lap 25 or 26, is it down in towards Stowe? But what about Happy Meal too? Because he's also putting Lucas under massive pressure too. And we know Lucas this season hasn't really been that great. We know that he struggled in long-term pace. And remember as well, he dropped from first all the way down into fourth place at the end of... No, second down towards fourth place at the end of turn 3. So it's had a bit of a slow start to the season, it must be said, but slowly getting there and slowly finding his feet. And I know it looks like everything is still going right for the time being. Fireblaze is the host in this session, and somebody has spun in the final corner. It is the Belgian driver of Rick Yu. Now, I know he's not Belgium, but these guys in the SDN chat love to take the mick out of Rick Yu, because I think he's from a different side of the Netherlands or something, or he says things completely different to how Dutch people say it. So that was my first ever chance, and every time someone calls him Belgium, he gets really mad indeed. So I thought I'd take the chance there indeed. But unfortunately for him, he has got full damage on the Aston Martin there, down in last place. There is still 14 people left to go in this race, and this race as well is going up to rate of knots. We've still not seen the main action. We've seen a massive DRS trade so far, but it's been quite settling so far. But I know towards the end things will spice up, and that's when the climatic reach will get to.
Coming back about Reikaju for a moment, not sure what he was doing in that final corner. He got front wing damage, so I just saw the aftermath of it. He was fighting it out with Octavius, now waiting for him for some weird reason. Hopefully there's one of these two won't cause a headache for the leaders who are about to come through, but it was Reikaju just driving, full accelerating in towards the wall. We were very close to getting a safety car for no apparent reason, as he's, well, taking quite an adventure here through the grass as he lets the leaders through, hopefully. And he does so not going to be in the way of the entire top 6, and Octavia hopefully will do the same thing, as he, well, not exactly, as he just completely cuts across the track and barely almost hits the wall. So let's hope that we're not going to get a safety car because of these two acting like idiots out on track, as they're both going to pull into the pit lane. Not the first time we see something like that this season, but we're going to go on to lap 19 of 26, 8 laps remaining. Erik has got an 8-10 lead ahead of Lucas, with Happy Meal close behind still in P3. Sasha and Fireblaze all in the same position as they were since the beginning of this second stint, and we're just waiting for the action to happen, waiting for the fight at the front. But at the moment Erik is doing a good enough job, because he is saving the battery as well as maintaining the gap towards Lucas, and if he can do that onto the final lap as well, he might not be in trouble for leading going onto the final lap. You usually think that you don't want to be leading onto the final lap, because the car behind will have DRS, sometimes multiple times. But as long as he maintains this gap, he could be fine on defense, especially if he's got a good percentage of battery as well. So he's at the moment he's doing a good job out in the lead, as Colin has made his pit stop. So both of the Alpines finally find their way back inside the top 10, and we'll get some a few points, with Kevin in 9th place and Geitekaas in 10th, but the gap towards Mark up ahead is 19 seconds, so they're not going to get anywhere higher than that. Unfortunately for them, Kevin might have to settle for 9th place, unless something happens of course at the front. But at the moment it has been quite calm. Erik now with a 9-10 gap towards Lucas, who of course with the help of DRS is able to bring that down back to around 5-6 tenths of a second. But it's impressive to see how easily Erik is able to build that gap over the lap. Apart from those DRS zones. We're going to go on to lap 20 now, and it's 7 to go, and Erik's still out in front, and he is still maintaining that gap. Fireblaze is a full 1 second behind Sasha up ahead, and he is just about staying within that DRS train, as once again we see Octavia and Rekaju making a mess of it in the middle of the lap. But let's keep focusing on the fight at the front, the fight that is bound to happen unless Lucas is not going to get close enough at the moment. He's still 8-9 of a second behind, and that is simply not close enough to make any move, regardless of his ERS level or the fact that he has DRS going into the final lap. So he needs to get the Belgian at that to have a real shot at winning this race.
Indeed he does then, about 5-6 of a second as well. You think that having the DRS advantage 2 times around this circuit is able to get closer, but look at Eric as well, stretched it away. I think he's running lower downforce and also used the basher too. The gap's over a second as well, so Eric has got some mighty pace. I noticed Lucas has been struggling to keep up with Eric, but Eric as well, after the pit lane exit, on his first couple of laps of the race, on his hardcore bad tyres, he was losing time towards Lucas. Lucas brought the gap from 2 seconds under to 1. But now, it looks like Eric is starting to stretch that advantage out by almost over a second as well. If Eric can get himself out of DRS range on the next lap, he'd be in absolute form to win this Grand Prix. I just hope those two at the back of the field, or those three now, because it looks like Tim's got involved too. No, it's not Tim. I think it's one of the RP drivers who's a ghosted car. He's a front runner. This is Gas in P10 there, but hopefully those two, they can do whatever they want at the back of the field. Just don't cause safety car. Don't interact with the leaders. Don't race fix, because I don't know if you noticed, but one of the laps they were involved with the leaders, Eric had DRS on the onto the hangar straight, and Lucas has been so frustrated with that, but luckily it was only for 1 lap as well. But look at that, Eric is almost got the gap over a second as well. Surprisingly, there's been no DNFs in this race. I could jinx it, and hopefully there's no safety car either to race fix this, because I think the only way this race could be winning now is a safety car. But these two, making contact, as we see Octavia and Reiki going at it there. I think it was this here, hangar straight. He just ran up there.